Guys, what is going on? It is your favorite Northern Virginia realtor, and in this video, I want to be talking about all the pros and cons of living in Leesburg, Virginia, one of my favorite towns. So let's get right into the video. All right, guys, if you don't know who I am, I mean, my God, I don't know how you do not know who I am, but I am Chris Colgan, a real estate agent here with eXp Powered by Place in Northern Virginia. If you have any questions on real estate here, most of my buyers and sellers do come from this YouTube channel. Text me anytime at the number below or shoot me an email at info@colganteam.com. But Leesburg, Virginia, growing up in Northern Virginia, we would always go there, typically for the shopping at the Leesburg Outlet Mall or Old Town Leesburg. But since I've been growing up, this place has blown up and it is extremely popular, and there are some good pros and cons that I want to talk about. Let's though switch it up a little bit. Let's get into the cons first. Number one is it is pricey to live in Leesburg. Back in the day, Leesburg was a place that was cheaper. It was further out from DC. And you know what? You could get a good deal there, but that is no longer the case. I think the median sales price in Leesburg is probably around like $550,000. And some new houses that when I was doing this research for this video, or when I've shown some of my buyers, are pushing upwards of $1 million for nice, large 4-level townhouses. So Leesburg can get really pricey. It also used to be where you could get a lot of land out there. That is no longer the case. So number one con is Leesburg can definitely be a pricey place to live. My number two con, and I always talk about this, is the weather in the area. We can have some harsh winters here. If you're not used to Virginia, there are definitely some harsh winters, and there are some hot summers here in Virginia, and the weather typically swings back and forth. Like right now, we're in the winter time, and it was 70 yesterday, and at the time of me shooting this video, I'm looking down, it is 40, so the weather extremely shifts all the time. If that's not something you're used to, it can be a little bit hard to adjust, but you get to enjoy all 4 seasons in Virginia, which I really love. But a con can definitely be the weather out there in Leesburg. And I will tell you this, if you are used to snow, if we get any type of snow in Northern Virginia, everything shuts down. Everyone freaks out. All the schools close. So if you're not used to that, you may laugh, but that's just the way things work. And that can definitely be a con about Leesburg. Another con that I'm going to talk about is Leesburg. You know, the traffic can be pretty bad there. You got to imagine that most people that live in Leesburg commute out of there, which I'm going to get into when I talk about on the pros, because that is definitely more of a pro. But you know what, during the workday, maybe there's just not a lot of people around, which is good. The traffic isn't as bad, but when you hit that rush hour, early morning to late afternoon, the traffic can get pretty brutal. Because you know what, a lot of people cut through Leesburg to get to Frederick, Maryland, or Winchester, Virginia, or Front Royal, Virginia, when they come down through Tyson's Corner or the Ashburn area, and the traffic there can get pretty bad. I've seen it get pretty backed up. They've tried their best to alleviate some of that, but you know what? They definitely have not done the best job, and that can really be a con of living in Leesburg. But I'm gonna be honest, that is pretty much how it is anywhere in Northern Virginia at this point. It's just something that we're used to. It's a part of life. As COVID hit and a lot more people work from home, it seemed like it got a little bit better, but you know what? It's never been fully there where it's not 100% nuisance. But that is definitely a con. Now, of course, I wanted to get those cons out of the way because there are a ton of pros of living in Leesburg, Virginia. So let's get right into those. And as I've said before, if you have any real estate related questions, you can text me anytime at the number below or shoot me an email. As always, most of my buyers and sellers do come from this channel, and you better subscribe to my channel. I mean, nothing will happen if you don't, but I have a goal of getting to 10,000 subscribers. And you know what? People that have subscribed have told me they have gotten extreme luck. I'm just telling you that. But you know what? Number one pro, this has got to be one of the most beautiful towns in all of Virginia. One of my favorite spots. It's not technically in Leesburg, but right down the road is a town called Middleburg, Virginia. That's where horse country is, where a lot of like big money people live, like the Mars Candy family. Aranus, that's like Michael Jordan's hair. I don't even know, whatever, Aranus. But she lives there. A lot of big money people live there. And this is a beautiful town. I go there all the time. There's nice local restaurants there. This is where horse country is. So if you're into horses, or if your kids are into horses, they have these beautiful parades and all that. It's a great place to go shoot down for the afternoon and get a glass of wine or just walk the little town. But the cool thing is, outside of Middleburg, another huge pro is Old Town Leesburg, or downtown Leesburg, is one of the most charming towns in the state of Virginia. There's all these great local restaurants, like Old Town Grill is in there, King Street Oyster Bar, which is extremely popular, and then the Wine Kitchen are some of my favorite restaurants in Old Town Leesburg. It's one of the few places in Northern Virginia where you can park and just walk around. You can go to the local theater there called Tally Ho, maybe see a small concert or a local show. I really love that place. There's all kinds of breweries in the area as well. It is one of the more beautiful towns in all of Virginia for sure. Even if you don't move to Leesburg, definitely check it out, because there is also a ton of great shopping. And speaking of shopping, another great pro is Leesburg has this outlet mall, and that used to be why most people used to go to Leesburg, is there's this huge Leesburg outlet mall there called Leesburg Outlet Mall of all things. That is a huge pro. Now me, honestly, I'm not a big outlet fan because I feel like it's the same thing I see anyways in the same prices, but around Christmas time, this place is packed. It is an extremely popular outlet mall. People come from everywhere. You know, they have Ralph Lauren, Nike, pretty much all brands you can think of at this outlet mall. It is extremely popular. I've tried to get good footage of it before, and every time security like chases after me like I'm shooting the Pentagon or the White House or something. But anyways, Leesburg Outlet Mall is a huge pro. One of the reasons that a lot of people go visit Leesburg there and the old town, so that is definitely a pro. All right, let's talk about another big pro. If you're into wineries, there are some great wineries in the area. One of my favorites is called Quattro Goombas. They have this homemade pizza. They also have their own wine, a couple different places where you can do wine tastings. There is tons of wineries in Virginia, but that one is one of my favorites. There's also Stone Tower in the area. All throughout the area, people will come from Potomac, Maryland, Baltimore, Maryland, anywhere, DC, to drive to Leesburg area to check out the wineries. It is a huge tourism thing. You'll see these big buses coming through with a bunch of crazy people. But that is a huge pro. If you're into that type of stuff, like going and checking out wineries, I definitely recommend that you check out that one, because that is extreme pro to living in Leesburg. We go out there a lot. There's a lot of wineries as well in Fauquier County and Prince William County, but that is going to be a huge pro. Another huge pro, one of the favorite things about Leesburg is the housing. I feel like they've done a great job with the different neighborhoods in there. I know I said it can be expensive, but the price ranges kind of vary. So there's a funny thing. There's a neighborhood in there called Creighton Farms, and there are these huge mansions. I bet the cheapest house in there is $3 or $4 million. And the gate there, again, is like Fort Knox. I tried to get in to get you guys some video. I could only get some drone footage. But this is like where the basketball players live, like the Wizards. Some of the Commanders live in there. A lot of like executives. There are just some beautiful houses back in there. I think, like I said, the cheapest house is $3 million, but there's also plenty of other neighborhoods. Like if you just want a nice townhouse and you're going to be commuting, you can get an older townhouse built in the 80s or 90s in the $300,000 to $400,000 range, or you can get a brand new 4-level townhouse with a loft for $1 million. Leesburg pretty much has it all when it comes to housing. And some of these housing developments that they built, they have these huge, like different bunch of builders came in, so they have different styles. And I really like that a lot. Some of the neighborhoods that I would definitely check out, and we can show you anytime, would be River Creek is a hugely popular one. Waterford is another one I like. And then obviously Lansdowne Woods. I've sold some of the football players' houses in some of these neighborhoods there as well. Tends to be because obviously where the Commanders practice is in Ashburn, Virginia. Those are some of the other popular ones. Another good one that's brand new is called East Quarter. So I would check out any of these neighborhoods, and you can get any type of houses. You can get a condo to a smaller townhouse to a huge townhouse to a smaller single family to a huge mansion, like I said, or you can get a house with land. So as far as housing wise, Leesburg pretty much has it all. And then my final pro will be where Leesburg has really lucked out is they do technically kind of have the metro system, because the Metro Silver Line finally, after years and years, got finished. And it is now, you can go shoot up the street up to Ashburn area and you can hop right on the Metro and take that into Dallas Airport, Arlington, into DC, or wherever you want. So if you want mass transit, they actually have it, where most other parts of Northern Virginia just don't have that. So Leesburg has the luxury of that. And I feel like with that coming in there, you're going to see housing prices continually to rise there because of the location of it. Like, there's just not too many areas that have that mass transit ability. So technically, if you didn't have a car and you wanted to walk around, you could do it. It's going to be a little tough because you're going to be paying for some expensive Uber rides, but it is definitely doable. And I know I said I had a few cons, but I do have one more con that when I mentioned DC made me think of it. There is not much of a nightlife inside of Leesburg, right? Like, if you're in someone that's like in your 20s and you're into going to a club or late night concerts or to the bar late night, Leesburg is definitely not going to be for you. Most places close around 2 a.m. So what I will tell you is most of the people that live in Leesburg that do that type of thing, they either take an Uber into DC or into Arlington area, or maybe even into Ashburn. So if you're a big nightlife person, that is definitely not going to be the best town for you. But I don't know if most of my YouTube viewers are into that, but I know some of them are. But just keep that in mind for sure. And if you are thinking about buying a house in the Leesburg area, definitely hit me up. I'd love to be your agent of choice. We work with pretty much everyone of all price ranges, no matter what you're looking at. And like I said, most of my buyers and sellers do come from this YouTube channel. I appreciate you guys watching. Definitely subscribe. As always, I'll see you at the top or from the top.